Connection Show, inspiring hope, health, healing. Sponsored by Braveheart Workshops, live with Jill Reynolds. And joining me today from the West Coast is Dean Storer. Welcome to the show, Dean.
Hey, it's nice to be on, Jill. Thank you very much.
Well, I'd love the audience to know just a tad bit about you, Dean, so I'm going to read some of your bio.
Okay.
Dean's been overcoming challenges in his life and business for 30 years. Growing up, Dean was frequently labeled as stupid and a troublemaker. At the time, he lived up to the labels well. He had a very tough time in school, turning to drugs and alcohol early on, destroyed his love for sports. He was in and out of fights and even jail. Eventually, he chose to be successful, and he has never looked back. So we want to just stop there on the bio and stop it that you never looked back. So on your life, Dean, what we love to do on the Connection Show is connect the dots of people's story to what led them to who they are today. But because of a special event that you're going to be speaking at, we're going to just go into a snapshot because we want people to come and actually see you and hear you at the event. So will you take us a little bit maybe further than the snapshot I just read about that life growing up as being called stupid, and then how those challenges led you into who you are and what you are doing today?
Yeah. Um, yeah, it's amazing how when you get labeled as a young kid, or even adults too, we get labeled. We live in a culture, we live in traditions that have been handed down. And, so I battled with being stupid and not learning how to read that well for a long time. And so that kind of followed me through the alleys of my life, if you will. Everything that I tried to do, it always haunted me. This thing, well, don't you remember? You don't know how to read or write. I wanted to write a book, and that thing popped up every time. You don't know how to read or write. And so it was until I finally figured out that number one, who needed to be number one in my life, and it was not my wife, it wasn't my kids, it wasn't relationships, it was God. And when I realized that changed everything about me, because once I started understanding what God said about me, it changed my whole aspect. It changed my whole view of who I was. Now, it didn't make it all go away. I still had to battle and deal with things. And but I think the biggest thing was the programming, the self-image, my self-image inside. I remember one of my mentors says, you'll never outperform your self-image until you learn how to change it. And because it's your self-image that really begins to, it's the lenses, if you will, and how we see into the world. And then once I started to learn how to change that self-image, it changed everything about my life. Yeah.
How amazing, how amazing. And so tell us a little bit then, if you wouldn't mind, Dean, of what then, from all of these new experiences and finding God and overcoming things, what then type of career did you end up doing, and what are you doing today?
Yeah. Well, I was raised in my dad's business when I was 8 years old, and I watched him become very successful. Hard worker. One of the hardest workers I'll ever know was my father, and he had a bakery. And so through that, I was raised in a business. I started washing pots and pans when I was 8 years old. I became a journeyman baker when I was about 12 or 13. So you learn the business because it's the business, right? It's the family business. And so out of that, I learned a lot of great things from my parents. And then I went on to start 3 different businesses of my own. And as I started those 3 different businesses, they became successful, and they became daunting and trying and a struggle and frustrating and good and all the stuff in between. And so, yeah, it was a challenge to step into the business that I'm in today. Is I realized that I wanted to do something different besides working with my back and my hands. And so I got certified by a guy by the name of Bob Proctor and Paul Martinelli. And then I went on to get certified as a coach, trainer, and speaker with John Maxwell Team, and I became one of the founding members. And now I've been doing this since 2006, and so about 15 years I've been coaching and training and speaking. And one of my greatest rewards is to be able to help somebody move to that next level and help them understand that, you know what, the only thing that's holding you back is your beliefs. And so once we learn how to change that belief, once we learn how to change that habit. So I've been coaching and training and speaking for several years now, and that's what I do today.
Mm-hmm. Now, are you trained in Habit Finder as well?
No.
Okay, I wasn't sure if you had, because changing habits, I know I did a little bit with that Habit Finder stuff, so that's why I wondered. So yeah, so so with what you're doing, Dean, the exciting news is that you're going to be coming to the Midwest the weekend of February 11th through the 13th to the Becoming the Best You Can Be conference, Overcoming Challenges in 2022 with Brenda Ringwood. And she's invited you to speak. So why, on her platform, I'm sure you again, as a motivational, inspirational speaker, trainer, coach, have many platforms you can choose from. Why did you choose this particular platform?
Yeah, I think one, it's Bryn's heart, her heart to really help people and wherever they're at in life. And then once I started, once she invited me on and I got to be on the speakers meeting on the Zoom, and I started to get to know the speakers, and I began to hear their heart and their pulse, if you will. And as I began to listen to them, and as we just had a speakers meeting just recently, and I believe you were on that too, and you're going to speak there at that conference. So just the amount of people that she's bringing together. I'll tell you what, we have to invest in ourselves, and what a way to invest in ourselves in 2022 to really begin to put yourself in an environment to where you're going to be around people that lots of different challenges, from finances to drugs to alcohol to failures to success, to all these different things that they have gone through and been through. And to be a part of that, is what a privilege. That what a humbling experience to be to share the platform with those kind of the caliber of people. And so if you're here and you're listening to this today, man, I tell you what, you don't want to miss this event. This event is going to change your life. That's what you've been wanting, right? That's what you've been wanting from last year to all of a sudden, here it comes again. January, we're coming to the halfway point in January already. And so if you're going to say the same things, well, I'm going to change, I'm going to do something different. This is your year. Just do it. Just do it. So it's going to be pretty exciting.
Well, it's just like everyone, people start the brand new year, January, off to their New Year's resolution, and 99.9% of New Year's resolutions, I'm going to start that diet today. Yep. And by January 15th, I tried and I failed. I'm done now.
Yeah.
So I started mine, and today's the 9th, and I'm not giving up. I'm 12 pounds down, and I'm full blown. I'm going strong, and I'm like saying, this is it. This is the year. I'm not going to keep saying I can't. I'm doing it.
Yeah.
You know, and you just got, it's that mindset. You just shift it. And, my husband and I have two recliners, so we sit next to each other when we watch TV, and that's the place that we'd always have our snacks. So he'll get his ice cream with his cookie and his whipped cream and sit next to me as I'm eating my celery and my cucumbers and my apple. And I'm like, you are really making this tough for me.
Yeah, right.
But, you just do it. It's like you said. Yeah. You're saying to yourself, I'm going to do this. I'm not going to use excuses anymore, Dean. You just move forward, right?
Yeah, you bet. And as you move forward, that's the thing that I teach a deal. It's called 7 levels of awareness. And it's powerful. And most people start out on the first level, and then they get up to the 3rd level, which is aspiration. And that's where they just wish. That's where they're hoping something to happen. And then for people to move to the 3rd level, to aspiration, to individual, that's where you start to take action, right? Well, a lot of times that's when all hell breaks loose, because you're going forward, you're moving forward, and all of those different habits, all of those things pop up into your head saying, you remember, no, oh, you got his cookie. What did you do? Replace his cookie there and you ate the other cookie? Told you couldn't do it. And so once you start to take action and you start to move towards that thing, what happens is we move down to aspiration again, just where we're wishing it's going to happen. And so as you begin to raise that level of awareness, that's the key. I dropped 60 pounds here last year, and part of that was because that I had triple stents. I had 3 stents put in my heart. The doctor said, you're lucky. You shouldn't be here. They were 70 and 80 and 90%. Well, I knew a health coach, and so I called him up as soon as I got out of that, and I was still doped up on the drugs. And I said, Wally, I said, I need your help, man. All of a sudden, my purpose, my awareness, everything changed. Everything changed. And so I started walking a lot. I started exercising, and so now I'm down 60 pounds. I feel great. And so, yeah, I think that was one of the toughest things I ever did. But when I changed my purpose, you know what I mean? It just does everything.
Well, and I think for me, Dean, thanks for sharing that. For me, what got me is I found this holistic doctor here in Branson, who takes some blood and looks at it under the microscope, and he can analyze your blood. And he's been doing it for 25 years. He's amazing. He's like 78 years old, and I'm not exaggerating. He doesn't have one wrinkle on his face. I mean, it's just, and I think he's probably got a body mass of maybe 20 for fat. I mean, the guy is as healthy as it can be. And he looked at my blood and he goes, look at your red blood cells, Jill. Half of them are dying off, and your body's loaded with candidus and yeast from the sugar overgrowth. And he goes, it's just going to take over your whole body because the red blood cells can't function in that environment. He goes, you have to get off the sugar. He goes, you just have to. And so I was like,
Yeah.
And you know, it's funny, Dean, I don't know what it was like for you before you did your weight loss, but you know, the sugar isn't as hard for me as the salt. I mean, I am like a freak for chips and popcorn, the salt. So what I'm doing is I'm just using Himalayan pink salt and sprinkling it all over my celery and my cucumbers, so I can sit there and feel like I'm just imagining I'm eating popcorn, and it tastes so great.
Yeah.
And just, yeah, you just change your like you said, your thought patterns. You know what other one's really good? Because as you're talking about changing thought patterns, think about this, Dean, because this is amazing. When you change your thought patterns, because again, we're talking, here we are in January, everyone wants to get healthy. When you take a bite of food, they say to do it intuitive eating, and connect your food with taste, texture, and temperature. So as you bite into something, does it taste sweet, sour, bitter, salty? How does it taste? Is the texture creamy? Texture, is it hard, crunchy? What's the texture? And then the temperature. Is it cold? Is it warm? Is it lukewarm? Is it hot? And so as you bite into each bite of food and you connect the taste, texture, and temperature, your salivary glands connect with the food too, with your taste buds, and it actually, and this sounds so weird, but you'll love this because of you being a motivational speaker, it actually engage your sexual glands too. Your salivary glands are in the same hemisphere, so it can be a very intimate experience when you connect your food.
Interesting.
Yeah. Isn't that amazing?
Yeah. Right.
And think about that. You're a Christian, so think about that with the Roman days. What did the Roman kings do? Sit around all day long and have these feasts with lots of women.
Yeah.
It was like they ate and they did everything else.
Yeah.
Well, so it's just wonderful you jumped on. I want to let the audience see your bio here, Dean, and how to get a hold of you. Dean's his website is listed here, And then that's going to be on the YouTube channel and on this video, so you'll know how to reach out to Dean and get a hold of him. He's a life coach, consultant, entrepreneur, professional speaker, and an author. And then this is the flyer to the event that we're going to be at, called Becoming the Best You Can Be, Overcoming Challenges, February 11th through the 13th at the Sheridan Hotel at the Convention Center in Overland Park, Kansas. On the flyer, you'll notice the website is called comechangeyourlife.com. And the cool news, Dean, is guess what? This is over the weekend coming up to Valentine's Day. So what would it be like if people signed up with their significant others and came together to become the best that they can be as a couple? And if you're not in a significant relation, what would it be like for you to love yourself to come? You want to talk on that, Dean?
Yeah, that's really good. Yeah, because it's going to hit all the avenues. It's going to hit the relationships. And, you know, if you think about Valentine's is so commercialized anymore, just like Christmas. But that doesn't mean that they have to rob us of our emotions and that whole thing and becoming the best in relationships, you know. And then to love yourself. That was probably one of the biggest things that I've ever overcome, is learning how to love myself and respect myself for who I was. And that was really, really, really tough. And so this conference is going to be so good. If you want to improve your relationship, if you want to improve your relationship with your kids, with your wife, your spouse, you want to improve your relationships with yourself, I think is probably number one, with your God. You know, that's huge. And when you begin to build that, coming with that kind of an aspiration and that kind of a purpose, that you're going to come to this thing, you know, think about why you want to come to something like this, and set that intention. And once you set that intention, I love what Wayne Dyer said a long time ago. He says, when you change the way you look at a thing, the thing you look at changes. So don't look at this as just another event, another seminar. Look at this as, if it's calling you to this place, man, show up, because you already know in your gut if you're supposed to be there. So don't let this another year pass by saying, oh man, here we go again. It's already half over and I'm still stuck. Yeah, this is your time.
Well, and don't make the excuse that I can't get away, because this is going to be a hybrid event. We're having it live in person, which the benefit of doing it live is you get to hang out, sit at the same tables with the speakers. If you get a VIP ticket, you get to have drinks and circles with the speakers. And then for those of you guys who want to come live and stay over on Sunday, we're going to do a Super Bowl party, because it's Super Bowl Sunday, with the speakers. So the live event gives you that experience of rubbing shoulders with the actual speakers, asking them questions, connecting with them on a one-on-one. However, if you are unable for whatever reason to come in person, this will be virtual as well. And you can get a ticket for the entire weekend for as low as $49 to watch these amazing speakers. We'll have a comedian there. It just will be an amazing experience. So there's no excuse to say no.
Right. Yeah, it's going to be a great event. So hope to see you there. That's going to be great.
Well, thanks again, Dean, for coming on your busy day to join with us. And we'll see everyone in Overland Park, Kansas, February 11th, 13th, or virtually online. Thanks again, Dean.
Okay. Thanks, Jill.